Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
That's just the right time to find out how Rosie Salas feels about the Kapiti Arts Trail. Rosie, good morning and welcome to you. Hello. Are you there? Oh, we are. We've established contact. That's great, Rosie. Okay. Rosie, what a wonderful weekend we had last weekend. I've heard lots of really good reports. People loved it.
Yes, I think people did. We had quite a flock of visitors up to the coast and from within the district as well. And the first day we went around with the mayor and his lovely green Pontiac driven by Craig from Southwards. And we visited quite a few of the venues on the Saturday, and things seemed pretty buzzing. And then I and my colleague Margaret went around quite a number of venues on the Sunday, and things were a bit quieter. And so I thought perhaps people came out and saw some of the Arts Trail, but then flocked down to the beach and to the garden centres. So, you know, not wasting the fine day. So we're hoping this weekend, with the weather looking a little bit shady and damp, you know, people will take the opportunity to come out and actually visit our studios, go indoors a little bit, and see some of our lovely artists and studios around the district.
Excellent. You mentioned it's likely to be a bit shady, maybe even a little bit damp, but warm, Rosie, both days.
Very warm.
Both tomorrow and Sunday, projected to be around about 20 degrees. So that's going to be quite pleasant, actually.
I think so. Perfect for going visiting people. And I think one of the things that I might have said last time is I'm astounded by how many beautiful gardens the artists have. I think this is actually quite special to the Kapiti Arts Trail. Other arts trails, the artists don't seem to spend quite so much time in their own gardens. And on Saturday and Sunday, we saw some beautiful displays of various artworks out in the artists' gardens, and I think people were admiring the gardens almost as much as the art. So, yeah, great opportunity to see artists in their studios in their home their home environment, their creative environment, and that's what we really want people to do, is to go and see the artists where they create their work.
Yes, indeed. So you're suggesting that some of these people are artistic in more ways than one?
I think so.
Yes,
yeah.
Very, very clever. Now, I think there is a temptation with some people to head to the hubs where there's a congregation of artists, but they're going to miss out on the kind of experience you've just talked about, aren't they?
I think at the hubs there's a great atmosphere. We went to Lindale and all of the hubs, actually, Big Mac Labs and St Paul's, and there's another small hub called the Kapiti Youth Support. And they were great, you know, they were hopping and humming, but one of the things that we really find was the atmosphere in the hubs is very different from the atmosphere in the artist studios, and you really get to see and talk to the artists in their studios and actually figure out or see the tools of the trade, and they can tell you about how they actually produce things. And I think that's actually the heart of the trail. I wouldn't want to say, you know, do this or that, but we really do encourage people not just to go to the hubs, but to actually make sure that they visit some of the studios. And particularly some of the studios that are out of the way. There's some great... We visited some wonderful places out in the countryside and down by the beach, and you just look out the views of the people who are right by the beach, and you see exactly why they do what they do.
It's a perfect way to get out and discover this wonderful place that we're so privileged to live in, because often we live at home, we go to work, and we have this set route, and it's all sort of pre-programmed. This way, you're going to some very interesting and beautiful nooks and crannies that possibly you wouldn't have thought of going to before.
Yes, and I shouldn't just say the beach and the countryside, because there's people who are nestled away in the hills or down in the village, like in the centre of Paraparaumu, maybe a little bit out of the way to meander through the suburbs in Waikanae and Paraparaumu, but basically when you get there, it's such a treasure.
Yep.
We've got amazing artists
Well, what's caught your eye, Rosie? Because you've seen many of them.
Look, there's so many, and I'm a little bit hesitant to name exact people, but I will. There's a couple that really took my eye. Bill Davies and his wonderful fabric work down in Raumati. You might have seen on the Facebook a little tiny video that I took of the beautiful hand-dyed fabric rippling in the breeze. We've got Micheline and Paraparaumu with some stunning artwork. We're Aisling down by the beach with her wonderful portraits. And up in Waikanai over the railway line, we've got Amanda and Jan and Epi, and they've got all really quite stunning work. And the other thing I would say is don't necessarily start at one end and go to the other, especially for people who are coming up from the south. Maybe it's a good idea to go to the north first, start in Otaki and see some of our wonderful potters up there and take a trip out to Lorna on the beach and then make your way back, and that way you miss the Otaki coming home traffic. Make sure you get to Waikanai, again, some of the Otaway people, Di and Michelle down on the beach, and some of those people in the Waikanai village, there's Warren and Joe. I'm mentioning people who you can look up in the brochure and online and see who I'm talking about. But just make sure you pick a few people that you wouldn't have gone to, because you can be so delighted.
The other thing that I heard, Rosie, is, gosh, there's a lot of it. And I think a lot of people did not estimate, or they did not plan their day properly. And we certainly do need at least the 2 days that are left to get around. But I've heard of some people say, well, look, we're going out next weekend as well. We simply didn't get around it all. There's a lot of it.
There is a lot of it, and that's what we say to people is do plan your day, but also prepared to be a bit surprised. So we're finding that people might visit about 6 to 10 venues. That's probably enough for a day.
Yes.
But some brave souls might do more. But I think factor in the travel time and factor in the fact that you might be a bit exhausted at the end of the day, but plan it over the 2 days. And it's one of the reasons that we have it on 2 weekends, is to give people that opportunity. But always, what I would say is always allow a little bit of extra time, just in case somebody says to you, you really must go and see so-and-so, and it's another 20 minutes drive.
Well, that's what happens, you see, the personal recommendations as people. And that's the other thing. People like to have a nice wee natter, because you're meeting quite often new people with a similar shared interest in some of the beautiful things in life, get on very well, and you start hearing about these recommendations, so your day gets more and more complicated. So do allocate sufficient time. It is wonderful. Rosie, thank you very much to you and the team for making it possible this year. It's a triumph.
Yes, thank you, John. And I'd just like to mention that it is a council event, and we are very happy to be supporting this amazing range of artists in our district, and we know that there's so many more. Kapiti is such a creative place.
It sure is. Thank you so much, Rosie. Lovely to talk to you. We'll do it again next time, okay?
Thanks a lot.
Okay, all the best. Rosie Salas.
106.3 Beach FM.